What's up, Tiger fans? It's Morgan here, back again with another quick video about your Clemson Tigers. And I wanted to continue the discussion that we had yesterday on my live stream. If you didn't see it, there may have been some dancing involved, some cheering, some We Too Deeping, a lot of excitement around this new news that came out just Thursday that Garrett Riley, former offensive coordinator for TCU, has accepted the job as offensive coordinator at Clemson in a much-needed decision made by Dabo Swinney that was a shock to literally the entire nation, because most people had written off Dabo Swinney as a guy who was just going to be loyal and keep going. Even myself said, hey, you really can't say much about last season. It was really his Brandon Streeter's first season as an offensive coordinator. I thought, hey, give Brandon Streeter one more chance with Cade Klubnik full on. But as we've seen, Dabo Swinney had none of it. He was done, ready to move on. And I think if you look at it overall, maybe rightfully so. Let's take a look at some of the information about Garrett Riley that we have so far. He has signed a contract for $1.75 million with a $300,000 bonus. He is now the fifth highest paid assistant coach in college football. There are three things that I feel like that Garrett Riley needs to do as he's coming into this role. And the first thing is work with the current roster. He may have some limitations there based on the current roster that is there, but he needs to come in and assess who he currently has and try to decide how he's going to best use them going forward. Now, obviously, we know one of the biggest gripes about Clemson's offense is that they forgot about the running backs. Phil Maffa seemed to be discouraged coming into the offseason and maybe rumored that he was looking elsewhere. Now he wants to stay, and that's a good thing for Clemson. But also, it was not uncommon to hear things from Will Shipley about being confused about why he didn't get used more. So I think Clemson needs to get back to their strengths. We thought at the beginning of the season that they would really lean on their running backs, but towards the end of the season, it seemed like they forgot about that. So working with the current roster, trying to improve that. I think they can improve the offensive line by maybe spreading them out a little bit more, maybe adjusting how they work together, because in some games it seemed like they didn't really know what each other was doing still. But offensive line, running back, and then wide receiver, Clemson's still looking for that big speed guy. They're bringing in Tink Kelly. They're bringing in Tyler Brown. I think those guys can maybe extend the vertical part of the field more. The film that I've seen from Noble Johnson looks good as well. So we will see Ronan Hannafin, throw him in the mix as well. Got some young guys. Now, hey, this wide receiver group's going to be young. The quarterback group's going to be young. Really, your offensive line and your running back is going to be your older guys there to kind of, solidify the veteran presence. But as far as the passing game and what Garrett Riley's going to have to address is going to be a lot of young guys, which might be good there to kind of mold those guys and get started early. Again, the next thing for me, not only work on the current roster, but attract that new talent. Now, I don't think they have any room for the transfer portal. So go ahead and just leave that be. They've already over-recruited, and that's over-recruiting from high school. They don't have really room unless there's some more attrition in May. They don't really have room for the transfer portal right now. But attracting new talent for the 2024 cycle, I think, is going to be key. And Clemson's already got out to a good start on the 2024 recruiting class. I think you might have a chance here with Jeff Scott coming in to finally get back to landing those big-time wide receivers for Clemson. And then the last thing that I feel like is, he's a Riley. So you got to be excited as a Clemson fan to say, maybe this is a chance to Clemson get back into that Heisman Trophy race. They did it with C.J. Spiller. They did it with Deshaun Watson. They did it with Trevor Lawrence, and now they've seemed to have gone away from that, and they need to get that player again. And one thing the Rileys know how to do is to get a guy in New York to be in that top for the Heisman Trophy. So I'm looking forward to that. Josh Pate was quoted saying this week that it's a home run hire. He would even say it's a 5-run hire. It's even got Shane Beamer upset. My question for me is just how quickly it will change. I think this is going to be a pretty quick change. One thing that you have to be excited about for Clemson is a lot of the naysayers say, well, look what he did against Georgia. Well, let's be honest. He was outmatched. TCU was outmatched in that game. But let's look at it. Duggan had over 3,500 yards passing, and he was a 4-star guy. He was a Heisman Trophy candidate. Kendre Miller, 1,399 yards rushing. He was a 3-star recruit. Quentin Johnson, 1,069 yards receiving. He was a 4-star guy. They were 5th in the nation in scoring and only had one 5-star on their roster, and that was the linebacker. So the talent is there for Garrett Riley to use and mold and build upon. And Clemson can recruit defense. So this may be a situation where the two match up perfectly, and you've got a defense that can hold teams, and you got an offense that can score at will. Only time will tell how quickly this will turn the Clemson offense around. Let me know what you think in the comments. Will it take some time, or do you expect this to be like a spring game blowout instead of, those last 2 spring games we had that were sleepers, absolutely sleepers? But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you like this hire or not? And as always, if you like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can stay up to date on all of my exclusive Clemson content I put out every single week.